If all has gone well, and I'm not so sure about that, then you were looking at me live in my new format, switched over to YouTube. So hopefully you're picking me up out there. Let me know at 304-224-4339. If you are here, then you know me. I am Mark Patterson. I hosted Mountaineers' very popular, even viral in-house handicapping show for some 25 years and just kind of tinkered around with my own website entitled The Dungeon for a while. It proved too difficult to access and for me to get my signal going forth to proliferate. So I was advised to flip over to YouTube. Seems easier. So we'll see how that works out. We're going to have some fun here. I'm going to do what I used to do. I'm going to break Mountaineers races down amidst the program itself, between races, and can hopefully inform and entertain. Sometimes I go a little bit off campus, off the wall, and sometimes I give some pretty hardcore horse racing commentary. I've been told I'm never boring, and hopefully my local knowledge will be of some benefit to you. I'm not a tout. I want to establish that going in as one of the ground rules. I'm simply here to supply a second opinion, kind of like you're sitting around simulcast with an old friend of yours that might happen to be a little more informed from the standpoint of local knowledge about the racetrack you happen to be playing. In this case, it is the Mountain Racetrack and Gaming Resort. It is my plan right now, my tentative plan, to also do Mahoning when Mahoning pops up. So right off the bat, I got to be honest, and I have to admit, I do violate, and if you're watching me for the first time, you're going to pick up on this very quickly. I violate the two main rules of hosting live television. I ain't good looking. I'm very hard on the eyes, and I'm not really likable either, to be completely honest about it. So how I became so successful is an in-house handicapper. I have no idea. But you can see from the banner, do not adjust your monitor. Your host is the least attractive person on YouTube. And that is not false modesty. That's a fact, Jack. So anyways, this is kind of a learning process for me. I'm going to add some bells and whistles as we go along, and I'll eventually put some horizontal tickets along the banners on the bottom and some other handicapping factoids and tidbits and bits of local knowledge about Mountaineer and the people there that you might find illuminating. So I'm going to flip to the other banner now. Oh, and I can see the comments coming in too. I was hoping this would happen. Yeah, they're sounding in already. Good to see you, Mark. Aaron from Illinois. Since when can you make a morning line 7 to 1? Michael Zeisler asks me. And you know what, Michael? I promise I will answer that question. The answer is you're not supposed to. And I've said this ad infinitum, and I think I've begun to bore people. I did make the morning line at Mountaineer for some 35 years, some 40,000 races, and I think was ranked the 12th most accurate odds maker in America when it comes to horse racing. So I know whereof I speak. And no, you don't make horses 7 to 1 in the morning line for a couple of reasons, Michael. First off, it's straight up ugly. It's like you're wearing a checkered shirt and polka dot pants. You just don't do it. Second off, it implies a precision of which no human being is capable, and gives an impression that the line is something it is not, that it's an exact prediction of what the prices are going to be, when in fact it's only a general estimate of what the closing odds are going to be. It is not good. In fact, it's very, very bad to do 7 to 1s and 9 to 1s and obscure odd price points on your morning line. No, I wouldn't have done that any more than I would have left the house wearing checkered shirt and polka dot pants. So. And again, beyond that, no lines maker can be that precise, and you don't want to imply that it's possible. No, it's very, very bad. So keep the comments coming in. Good evening, Mark, says Andy Schnell. And this is really cool because I can see these comments. Whereas when I did the Mountaineer show, it was always popular right from the outset because it was pretty clear that Michael and I were going to roll a little differently than some of the other in-house shows traditionally had. But it didn't really go viral and take off until I put my phone number out right in the air and started going back and forth with you guys, which we're going to do a lot of here. So Kenny Neely, that's my man, really good handicapper. And we talk a lot between races, and also those long, cold winter days. We're both betting Mahoning because evidently we have no lives. And we go back and forth about the Mahoning races too. And Kenny's a good second opinion too for me. And I like to use some of my ideas on him as a sounding board and get his input too on the races. So I'm going to have to move on over now and take a look at these races. And I will keep responding to your comments throughout the card. I dig this. This is way better than what I was doing. It's a work in progress, but it is way, way better than what I was doing, guys, for sure. And I see it as 9 minutes to post. And let's see where the field's at. And I'm not going to call the races or do anything like that. I'm not going to pretend I'm Peter Barry or Vic Stouffer. I'm not going to do that. No. I can't show the races. I'm not going to call the races. Off the turf tonight at Mountaineer, and the main track is labeled good and played surprisingly closer friendly last night, which is not necessarily typical of the mountain. At least when it comes to sprint races. You saw some horses win from pretty far back last night. So unlike on the previous occasion, when it was sloppy, which I think was May 24th, it was not heavily rail biased or in favor of speed or anything like that. So we'll see how it plays tonight. Once again, we're off the turf. And we still have 10 going to the post in the first race here as the 10's out and scratch from the 12 on down. And a horse that really jumped out for me in the first race is number 6, Dream Wife, Dream Life. Does that mean you're happy? If your spouse is happy? Well, that means I should be happy about half the time, I think, because it seems like I'm in her doghouse. And she can be real subtle about it. I'd say about 3 days a week, maybe something like that. Anyways, Dream Wife, Dream Life. And this race is really soft, even by off-turf standards, because what you get in these races, you get some horses that are almost complete abysmal failures on conventional dirt, whose connections are desperate to try anything that might get a horse up in the pan picture. So if you see any talent whatsoever, sometimes that's a wrap, baby. And if it's dirt talent, then it could be lights out. Dream Wife, Dream Life. Bailey Weatherly riding for Eric Reed here. And you know what? He should be grateful to ride for a trainer of Eric Reed's caliber, really, Bailey Weatherly. Also Oliveros, too. I hope those guys have Eric Reed on their Christmas list. I really do. And take him donuts at the barn and stuff like that. We're not talking about bad race riders, but they should be grateful to Kentucky Derby winning trainer Eric Reed for using them on so many horses. Anyways, Dream Wife, Dream Life. I was third at Mahoning on March 27th. I'm supposed to know a little something about the Austintown Oval because I was in there at square one, right from the opening jump at Mahoning, and I bet them seriously all winter long. And I'll tell you, the winner of that race came back to take an allowance when Dream Wife, Dream Life was third. And I also, and this could be relevant here, the price is going to go lower on Dream Wife, Dream Life. I have no doubt about that. I had the racetrack dead rail there on March the 27th. So the inside trip would have hindered Dream. I'm going to quit saying the name, the 6 horse. Better than look performance there. And that was not a race drawn up for turf. It was Mahoning where it's tougher than Mountaineer to boot. And then the Dreamer, number 6, came back to be third and beat 6 foes at the Keeneland. And the Keeneland maiden claimer. And the winner of that returned to score on the race, I think for 50 or something like that. Might have gotten claimed and come back to win for 50 on the race. So with some tactical speed and literally nothing to beat. And off those 2 performances, good luck to them trying to beat the 6 horse here, who could go really low in the final analysis here. Did stay in the left lead, which you might consider a little bit ominous. It's not a sign of soundness, I can tell you that. The only sound horse that I think ever did that just out of habit was Aladar. I mean, there are some others for sure. But usually it's just not a question of being green or never having learned the correct way to run or something like that. Usually it's because they want to get off the right lead or stay off the right lead. And that can get tiresome in the lane as well because they run left lead around the turn in 99% of all instances. And there is number 6, Dream Wife, Dream Life. There's number 7, Mystery Date. That's the old board game, right? When you could draw a real ugly guy, the little girls, or a handsome dreamboat when they played Mystery Date. Yeah. Remember the song too? Mystery Date. Anyway, I never played Mystery Date. At least that I can remember. I had some little pals that were girls, so maybe I did play Mystery Date at some point. Mystery Date was on the turf last time. In a pretty good field. Xena Cat was a good Marshall Godsey horse coming from the bigs. And that's a good performance. The problem is this is not turf, and the dirt races are not good. Not good at all. Mike Jones has somehow lost his mojo from last year too, so he's not the plus factor that he was last season. And you're looking at 12-1 there. And the jock just got a leg up on number 2. Evan Come Home. Evan Come Home, they wanted to get on the grass, I'm pretty sure, because you got Quality Road on the top here of the pedigree. Man alive. It's hard to measure all the lengths this horse has been beaten by. I'm not sure the time off would have done a lot of good here. First time Lasix, that's not a big concern with me either. Somebody gave only $1,000 to purchase Evan Come Home at auction, and looks like they got their money's worth, huh? Smart Little Lass, number 3, a distant second last, but a distant second, a really talented Eric Reed horse named Run on Candy, who's got a world of speed, who came back to win an allowance and do so rather impressively. So you can lose by a long way to that one and maybe compete here. First time Lasix usually takes more seasoning, though, than 2 starts worth to successfully navigate a rod of ground at Mountaineer, even in soft competition. 9-2 on Smart Little Lass. And I'm going to hang back as 11 horse did draw in, and there's 11 horse walking on by Classic Connection. So I'm going to hang back for a minute here. And then after the post parade, resume my commentary. Okay, so we're back since the post parade is over. That's kind of old habit, just muscle memory, because I used to have to step aside because my mic got muted when Peter Berry, the estimable Peter Berry, came on to do the post parade. So just out of courtesy, I hang back now while they're doing the post parade. And it's a pain not to be able to show the races. I know it's inconvenient for you guys, so I do appreciate you showing up. And if you are in earshot of me, then feel free to type in your comments. I don't know if you have to subscribe or not to do that, but please do subscribe so I can build the channel and keep going on with this. And also type in your comments, your questions, just whatever you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it, baby. Smart Little Lass I talked about is 5-1. Even his dream wife goes down to even money there. My wife is so stubborn. She's an RN at a nearby medical center, and man alive, her name is Jan, and I call her Jan Plan because she always plans out my whole existence. She really does, and I'm not really much of a planner, so we do kind of come to loggerheads over that sometimes. And I tell her all the time, when I first met you, I didn't think you were much of a cook or a housekeeper. And you know what? Your cooking's been a pleasant surprise. I think she gets the inference. You know what I mean? Can you feel me there? I think she gets it. Although, no, I don't expect to be semi-retired, never clean the house to boot. My son and I take care of those chores here. So, Bra Master. Okay. This is one of those horses they better try something different with off the 55 lengths worth of losses out of those 2 starts. Raven's Honor. I swear if they keep running her long enough, she's going to eclipse Zippy Chippy's record for consecutive defeats. Got a lovable loser horse in the making there. Skipping the 6, skipping the 7, Party Queen, number 8. She hadn't done much partying, has she? I did finish 3 distant thirds at Charlestown. And you know what? Some of those buyers I would almost be competitive here, huh? I think it's a good thing for her that we're getting off the turf because that sure didn't work at 5-1 last time, did it? Party Queen. I remember thinking she might run a little better than that last time. She did not, though. Negron Sticks, underrated jockey, extremely aggressive, and takes an edge too out there. And some of those Charlestown races against much better, and some of those Buyer Figs could put this one on the ticket for sure. I don't think Party Queen should be quite that high. And then we come to fifth gear. Fifth gear there is a Virginia Demsick trainee. The problem is those horses were dead fit first time back off the sidelines, and this one's already been to the post twice. So I've got a feeling that's as good as it's going to get for fifth gear. That May 4th effort, which found her a well-beaten second to a more highly regarded stablemate who was heavily favored there and had a good turn of early foot. Fifth gear has now had a two-turn race under her belt last time, so that's a good thing for fifth gear. The post is not such a good thing at 1 mile. The 9 slot, you watched a number 10 post, a number 11 saddlecloth, but a 10 post. Circled a bunch at a big loss of ground in the win last night at a mile, but that's a rarity. Fifth gear will probably flash some speed with a hard sending Barrios up, stretching out to a bona fide route of ground that has been out there on the engine before, going a distance as fifth gear. So maybe a puncher's chance for Barrios to grab the lead coming out of the gate. And one of the few horses in single digit country up there, even as the 6 horse. And I predicted this had to happen. It just had to be. What if my man Jerry Jam, the Jammer's watching me tonight because he's been a good advisor to me and a supporter of my efforts since long before I left Mount. And I hope he's able to tune in and knows where to tune in. Jerry Jim Gotchin, late scratch. The one horse is out written on the wind, so Mountaineer will use that as an excuse to drag the start about another hour and a half. So I am going to sign off here and come back after the race. So Dream Wife, Dream Life did stay left lead, but that left lead was moving a lot faster than the rest of that desultory field. And I'm not trying to preach or be a know-it-all, but in case you are not aware, the way to tell if a horse is on the left lead is watch the hind strikes. Don't watch the front legs, watch the hind strikes. And if a horse strikes first with the right hind, then the horse is on the left lead. Also, a horse will tend to drift a bit in the direction of the lead they are on. So you can see from the head on there that Dream Wife was drifting inward a little bit, and Weatherly went to the left-handed stick, which was the proper move to try and straighten the horse up a little bit, maybe keep her from running right through the rail. Dream Wife, Dream Life didn't prove a whole lot there. But if ever a horse was of value at 2 to 5, it was probably the Dreamer. Somebody sounded in the comments there that I'm a Jennifer Tooley fan, meaning them, and they think she's got a shot. Well, I hope that you adhered to obvious logic and used the 6 on top and went with your brainstorm on Tooley and put Classy Connection second there, who overcame a very tough post to be second. Classy Connection there, second time to the post. Tooley's a really good trainer. Very, very good. I got a good friend, a guy named Zoomer, Richard Zoomer, who's like ageless, timeless. The guy's like 90 years old, but he looks like he's maybe 40. He's spry, he's slender. And you know what? He'll outlive me by like 40 freaking years. And he's just a gadabout at the local simulcast center, the guy that roots loud, and very colorful character, the backbone of horse racing fandom. And he is somehow tangentially related to Jennifer Tooley. And so he never smiles. Zoomer never smiles. And he always mutters under his breath. So every time she's got a horse in, when I used to go to the Mountaineer simulcast in the wintertime in Bet Mahoney, he'd come over and say, Jennifer likes this horse, Mark. I don't know, what do you think? Jennifer likes this horse. I don't know, Mark. I don't know. You think she's a good trainer? I'm just, I don't know, Mark. I don't know. I don't know if she's a good trainer at all. Rich, she's a good trainer, my man. She's a very good trainer, Rich. And I hope you're doing okay, by the way, Mr. Richard Zoomer. Man, some of the characters that I'm going to talk about from time to time that I've encountered over the course of my long existence in thoroughbred racing, man. The stories I could tell and will tell here on the new show on YouTube. And please continue to sound in on the comments there. Somebody says, click the like button, helps Mark's channel. I guess it does, but I'm so new to this. I don't watch many YouTube live streams or podcasts, but it seems like when I do, they're always admonishing their viewers to hit the like button and subscribe and stuff like that. Anyways, eventually, hopefully, I can amass a sufficient following and get paid a little bit and recoup the cost on my basement studio here. My wife, not a dream wife, but she's been very tolerant to this point. The money I've invested in this whole setup down here. Somebody says much better on YouTube, and somebody else says I know Mark hates action wagers. Yeah, it's not like I never make them though. But don't do as I do as I say. And I am doing much better with being patient, but I threw $3 on a 50-cent box and took down 24 bucks. Nice call there. Nice call, and way to be. Way to be, man. Second race, 7/8 on the turf to start with. Instead, make it 6 furlongs. On that good mountain Maine. I had to get printer ink this afternoon because I could look at the monitor and look at the BPs while I'm commenting, but I'd rather have them in this book that I keep in front of me here. I just print them up and put them in the book here. And it's just easier for me to look down. Then I have the monitor over there so I can see what's going on. I can change my banner across the bottom of the screen. Anyways, this guy asked me, when I went to Staples, asked me, do you have a phone number with us? No, sir. I don't do the phone number thing. Well, there are a lot of benefits. No, sir. I can't get at the emails I need right now because you people have spammed me out of freaking existence. Hey, Mr. Trump, Mr. President, you want to pass a meaningful law? Prohibit those vipers, those leeches from soliciting people's phone numbers who simply want to go in and make a cash or debit card transaction. Please. My, how that would help. And while you're at it, grab a couple of people in foreign countries that spam my phone all the livelong day and think they can fool me with a local area code and execute them. Make an example and execute them, because that is time theft. And time is the most valuable commodity a human being possesses. So I told this guy, no, I'm not going to give my phone number. I'm not going to do it. People will spam me. Walking to buy a pair of shoelaces. Do you have a phone number with us, sir? Are you on a rewards program? Anyway, starter 4,000 fillies and mares, making 6 furlongs on the mountain, Maine. And we have got 8 horses going to the post here. And a horse that's taken a lot of money is number 2 Constitutionalist, who I'm looking at a lot, or Constitutionalist. He's a Dennis Cluley trainee. You guys have heard me talk about Cluley before. Might be the least personable guy on planet Earth. The day you have to talk to Cluley in the course of your business is not a pleasant day. He's just a sour dude, just completely sour. It's a good horseman, though. Gets a ton of run from a horse. Although he's kind of haphazard with his placements, where he spots his horses at. And sometimes I think he's got turf on the brain. He enters in whatever fills, turf, dirt, doesn't matter. Wanted to run Constitutionalist on the grass, which I think would have been a serious mistake if she's at all fit and ready off that one return effort there. Constitutionalist may well be the speed of this race. On these 7H jobs that flip over to 6 from 2 turns to 1 when they come off grass, usually the emphasis on speed. And Constitutionalist has a history of going up and getting a leader, pressing the pace, a lot of times in even shorter races than this. And if that one outing got something under her, then look out for Constitutionalist, I would say, who did put up a good number on a speed fighting victory on some swift splits in a starter allowance last summer. And that was a bona fide starter allowance race with Sweet Queen being there. This is not a bona fide starter allowance race full of all these 2-turn horses. Some of them wanted the grass, right? Repaint on the inside. Repaint's going to get supported just off the starter allowance win. And the starter allowance condition is largely about what have you done for me lately? And Repaint was a last out winner. Man alive, there was a never 3 coming in up from a drubbing in a $4,000 condition race. That had to be very soft competition, and it was. You pull up the past performances on that race, and you're going to see just how easy a field that was. Mock and Range can't run 2 turns on dirt. She can't do that. And the place horse there, Memento Me, number 6 in here, I had only run 1 time since September, and wants to run from left field from like many, many, many lengths back. So Repaint got a good trip and did outrun her Charlestown form, as a lot of the Shanley horses seem to. And she's got a chance here. I think she has done okay in a couple of sprints early in her career, but she's not going to be close up like last time. There aren't going to be any 26s tonight. And depending on what she's bet down to, she could be overbet here. Repaint. And I'm going to go over and check it out. They're coming onto the track right now. So I'm going to hang back for the post parade for just an instant. So somebody in the comments here said, hey, I'm in the UK. Appreciate you coming on in here, Platinum Pirate. And is there anything you like a lot later on or fancy strongly on the remaining card? I would recommend you go to bed and get a good night's sleep, because when I'm bullish on something, when I'm big on something on the race card, not some kind of a cinch at 2 to 5 or something like that, but something I think is going to be some kind of value, I will put it on a banner across the bottom of the screen. And I'm certainly not going to give you a strong steer promiscuously, because this is just not a card that I'm real confident about sinking my teeth into. And I did do my due diligence. So Platinum Pirate, I'll keep you in mind, man, but tonight's not the night for that because it's not that kind of card. And I can't really isolate anybody that I love a whole lot. So I do roll a little differently than a lot of folks that do this kind of thing. I'm not going to force opinions when I have none. And patience and the ability to admit to oneself that a race might confuse oneself is a big part of my game as a thoroughbred horse player and as a racing analyst of some repute. I was named one of America's top 10 racing analysts a few years back by Horse Player Magazine. I'm proud of that and have about 50 copies of the magazine lining the walls of my basement here. Anyways, getting back to this second race. Yeah, I think Constitutionalist got a big chance. Glitter Bay, man alive, was entered for grass, right? I don't want to try the grass on the bottom. She can't even win the lowest of condition races in bottom claimers. She's not starter allowance timber at all. When it comes to, she scratched, in fact, Glitter Bay and number 4, Priyanka. The weird thing about Priyanka, she actually won an allowance race on dirt. Her first time stateside, and she's just not that horse anymore. And plus, she's way better on turf to boot at 11-1 up there. Priyanka, a little bit crazy. Number 5 is just 9-2 up there, claimed off a long, long layup there and chased some quick fractions. So she should be prominent here. But with just one outing, and that was a 4-length loss in a bottom condition race since last October. I don't know about her in a starter allowance, but this is not a normal starter allowance either. So I wouldn't rule her out, but I'm not too eager to bet on her either. The track played kindly to closers last night. So that could probably give Memento Me a chance in here. Number 6, who's 3-1. Normally a horse that wins at a mile from 18 lengths back. You don't want him next time going 6 furlongs, especially in a race with a two-turn field that was drawn up to go 7H to begin with, because of the pace may not be, at least theoretically, all that favorable to Memento Me. But in this case, it's possible. It is certainly possible. All of a sudden, Renzo Diaz has his name in the news. My man is showing 3 wins at the meet, 3 within the last couple of weeks. I don't think this guy's won 3 races in the last 10 years. So good on Renzo Diaz. And number 7, Morning Holiday. Morning Holiday is a 13-1 up there and wants to go a distance of ground for sure. Wins by 10 at a route, so comes here to run a route. And again, had perfect position there. Didn't get suckered into chasing Take Wings, who backed up and forfeited the lead there. So got a good trip and was well rationed. Race might be weak enough, but I think this horse wants to go a route up close to a comfortable pace. Number 10, Scoot Along, 6-1. Still on the memory of that December the 9th win. First time off the claim there for Scoot Along. The Julie Stansbury horses usually improve second, third time off the bench. This one really didn't, though. Last couple of trips to the post. For some reason, they're high on Scoot Along, and I'm not too sure why that is. Scoot Along is a possible pace factor. I think if you look back at least at that 4.5 furlong win. So the race is kind of a mess. If there is a value on the board, it might be number 2, Constitutionalist, but I can't say I'm exactly wreaking faith in Constitutionalist, but maybe might be the value. It does 7-2 there. The 6 horse actually has a chance, even at 5-2 after running from 18 lengths back at a route of ground. And this horse, I think, has won a couple of sprint races earlier in her career, a lot earlier in her career, and closers were doing okay last night. I'm not that big on the 5 horse, at least to outright win this. And repaint, a chance for sure. But I also think potentially overbet right now at 2-1.
So it was a little bit crazy there. Man alive, what a soft starter allowance race when a horse that's only run once since fall of 2024 and lost a 2 and 12 month bottom condition race by 4 lengths with a 39 Byron wins it. But that's why they call it taking off the turf, I guess. And a good claim there by Jamie Poole for his money man, his main client, Terry Staley. But Jamie's the HBPA president at Mountaineer. He's got a lot of power, boy. He's got a lot of power at Mountaineer. I'm not really sure management makes a lot of moves without consulting and getting Jamie Poole's approval. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of clout at the place the action peaks. He was the guy in the red shirt there on the winner's circle. And Scoot Along nailed the standing start there, opened a big lead and couldn't quite hold sway, huh? 6 furlongs for the third race, and this was always going to be dirt. And this is a West Virginia bred Never 4, our non-winners in 2026 for a 12.5 claiming price. And at this point, I think it's appropriate to put up a banner that I prepared. I'm going to put handicapping tips for Mountaineer, our little factoids up, maybe a different one every night. And here we go. And I think it's appropriate right now. West Virginia bred Never 4 are non-winners of a race in 2026. Claiming price 12.5. And please read the banner with so many tags and multiple conditions slapped together in so many pointless combinations. Headings alone can't classify Mountaineers events. Rely on your own judgment and knowledge of the stock. You got to classify and rate the race strength and performance strength on your own, because they're throwing every bit of spaghetti against the wall. Multiple conditions, non-winners in 2026 or Never 4, non-winners twice in 6 months or Never 4, 75 claiming non-winners in 2026, 12.5 claiming with about 3 conditions slapped on there, 4,000 claiming, 5,000 claiming conditions, but 4,000 wins don't count, a new bottom at 3,200. I'm just being objective here, because I worked as a racing secretary and assistant race secretary for a long time in Mountaineer. And it is very horseman friendly. You can tell what they're doing. They're putting up any request that the horsemen want. They're trying to be all things to all horsemen. And if a horseman wants it, they're going to put it up. And it's really tough to gauge the quality of these fields simply by reading the header. So don't be locked into dogmatically grading a race based on the conditions, based on the claiming price, because it ain't going to work.
you're going to have to use your own eye because you'll see a lot of 7,500s that are stronger than 12.5s. You will see $5,000 races that are stronger than the 75s. And it doesn't always boil down to conditions either. Sometimes it's just a matter of individual fields. So they write these races in a very open-minded, horseman-friendly manner at Mountain. And I'm putting a positive spin on it there. So please read my red banner there. Read my red banner and proceed accordingly when you handicap Mountaineer. So the third race is Never 4 or 2026 12.5. These are West Virginia breds, and here's our old friend Out of Sense. He of the 17 career wins and almost $400,000. You guys know Out of Sense. Ever since he was a Jeff Runco horse up out of Charlestown, he's been through some different barns, and he's had quite an illustrious career and rarely goes slumming with his own kind. In fact, it's possible to forget for long periods that he's even eligible to run in these restricted races because he's been so successful outside the restricted ranks. This is the horse that beat Dropkick Murphy for an 82 buyer. In a starter optional last year, a horse that ran Jamming Cameron to a tough decision. In an optional claimer, a Warrior is Out of Sense. And my only concern here would be, and it's a slight one, because nobody is capable of beating Out of Sense if he shows up with his A, B, or B minus game. But Out of Sense last time in third starter form cycle did not run like a 9-5 shot. He really didn't. Those ratings handicaps can be a little difficult to classify, but French Onion's a good horse who's big race capable. And Stormy Hollow came back to win and went pretty well out of that race, out of that ratings handicap race. Out of Sense had their highest ratings handicap in the field, and theoretically maybe should have had that field over a barrel from a standpoint of class. And I like him at 5.5 because it sometimes stiffens up his homestretch resolve, but he hung there. He really didn't make his run. And you can see where his Beyer Fig regressed some 13 points in his third start of the season. So he's 10 years old now. And Father Time is undefeated. So if you're going to empty out on Out of Sense, you might need him to run, despite the fact that he was in with better horses last time off that no-impact third. You might need him to run just a scotch better than that to beat even these horses, which if you look up and down his past performances, you'd be hard-pressed to find an effort that would not beat this field for number 4 Out of Sense. So it's going to be 2-5 or something like that. He's going to be some silly short price. And with a fellow West Virginia bred, so he's even money right now, and he's going to go down for sure. Just no question about that. And there's a one horse walking by, Dembe Zuma. This is a horse Jamie Poole claimed last year, late last summer. The horse didn't fire. Maybe the first claimer of his career for a sharp horseman there, Chris Carlisle. Not the first guy you want to claim from, but it really hadn't worked out so far for Dembe Zuma. Indian Empire, number 2 is 14-1. Indian Empire, talented, and has done a lot of good things outside the West Virginia bred ranks. Indian Empire was a good horse at one time. Has a 9 wins for 35 tries. This is the best horse Jennifer Johnson ever had her hands on. Like by far. By far. Indian Empire has had a race under his belt now. And that was a better field than this with Abundant Energy, who I think won 2 in a row, including an allowance, or a high claimer at Mahoney, and then an allowance here. And Rocketaville, who was cheap but in rare form up from Charlestown, and who got a loose lead there. So that race was tough. Indian Empire might move forward. And this guy Arroyo looks to me like a difference maker from what I've seen firsthand, not his history, but from what I've seen firsthand of Arroyo. Indian Empire did win last year going 6 with a sprightly Beyer Fig, but took a couple of preps to do it. And you got to be a little bit suspicious of a horse that was only sound enough to run 3 times last year. Number 5, Team Leyendecker. Team Leyendecker's capable against these kind of horses, and you can see him running well. Up close third, up close second, under the same kind of a race heading at Mountaineer. He's had a couple under his belt now. Always keep an eye on this crew because they can be a little bit tricky. Team Leyendecker might be making some kind of a late move here. Number 6, Chief Randall. I think we saw him on the monitor just a minute ago there. Boy, what a warrior he's been. What a venerable veteran. He's a double dipper because he runs against Ohio breds. In fact, I think he won the Cleveland Gold Cup like 2 presidential terms ago during Trump's first term, I think, to Chief Randall. And I think he also won what we used to call the welcome back dash, an open allowance card at 4.5 furlongs on opening night every spring. I think he won that too, Chief Randall. Terry Craig, a very good trainer, but doesn't usually get him cranked up for first time back. And Chief Randall's another old timer who went without a win last year. Did go without a win, but I would count on him to flash some speed here and go out there and maybe take a little bit of catching, but might set it up for somebody to come from behind, like an Out of Sense there. And there was Storm and Rocket, number 7. Storm and Rocket was third last time again, and a better field than this to Abundant Energy and Rocket Appeal. I think those were better horses. I like the buyer. And 2 of his wins are Word Mountaineer, too, for Storm and Rocket. So he likes it here. He likes the air here and seems to run better than he does at Charlestown, Storm and Rocket. So I would not rule him out there. And he's not being ruled out by anybody because he's 3-1 up there on the board, right? So we'll talk about the Reverend Jack and Giacomo Casanova. Should I put the banner back up that says, do not adjust your monitor? Kind of like they used to say with the outer limits, do not attempt to adjust your monitor. We will have control for the next 60 minutes. Should I put the banner back up that says, do not adjust your monitor? Your host is the least attractive person that can now be seen on YouTube, which is a fact. I'll pop it up again later. For now, I want to leave the banner up about the minor conditions, and, the plethora of claiming prices, and how confusing it gets, and how it almost seems like throwing spaghetti against a wall sometimes. Ace McDuff, a guy who I'm familiar with on X, sounds in and says, Reverend Jack has been running outside the state bred program. Kind of curious. The reason they do that, Ace, is because against West Virginia breds, he's a 4-time winner, and there's no getting around it. But outside the program, the way his wins shake down, he can run never 2 life. So those aren't just $4,000 claimers he's been in. Those are non-2 lifers, and that's why they would have exited the cozy confines of the West Virginia restricted program. Ace. Giacomo Casanova. Zealous Storm's a good horse, so I think it was about 1-9 or something like that. Grabbed the lead and just went on with it. And the Giacomo Casanova had no chance to catch Zealous Storm, but should have been second and should have been promoted to second because Prince Jeremy, who ran second there, angled out and definitely impeded Giacomo Casanova and cost him second in that race. If Giacomo was still getting tuned up, then he's another horse that shows some competitive efforts against this kind of competition. Check him out in November, on November the 4th and November the 25th. So he's a chance out there, and certainly a chance for a piece of it. As we're at 7:05 right now, on out of sense. I don't think that price is going to hold. I really don't. It was claimed from Julie Stansberry. It was kind of a Joni Loves Chachi spinoff series from Eddie Clouston there by Larry Reed. Larry Reed's an octogenarian. He's an older gentleman boy. And I don't know. Remains to be seen if he's going to get the same run out of this horse that Clouston and Stansberry did. The last time he was in with his own kind, West Virginia breds, he ran into a buzzsaw, a well-prepared heroes man. A speed horse just won like 20 races and made like $400,000, that was fresh off the bench there for the master horseman, Dave Trehorn. Was out of sense there. 3-2. I don't think he's going to hold 3-2, guys. I think he's the likeliest winner. I don't think he is a cinch. And if Father Time does catch up and he doesn't fire just a little bit bigger than he did last time, just a little bit bigger than he did last time, that opens the door to some other possibilities, like Giacomo Casanova and certainly Storm and Rocket, who I would rank the second likeliest winner here. But you can decide if 5-2 is any big bargain on him either. So not a race that I think I'm going to bet here. So I wish you guys luck, and please, if you can hear me, and if you're watching and you've summoned it up, and I haven't put the word out yet, not like I can. The problem with this enterprise for me is 95% of my fans, the folks that used to watch me religiously on the Mountaineer feed, have no idea not only what I'm doing, but that I'm even alive. So I got to get the word out somehow to build the viewership here on YouTube. But if you've stumbled in here and found your way to the dungeon, to the YouTube version of the dungeon, do you like the two horses at war with each other? Anyways, it's kind of my logo. And my theme is no horse race too low. But anyways, if you stumbled in here, then feel free to jump in the comments and please subscribe and hit the like button. Good Lord, I sound like Jason Whitlock or one of the podcasters that I visit daily on YouTube. I never understood when they would just admonish me and beat on me, browbeat me. Please subscribe and hit the like button. But anyway, sound that in the comments, please. It is not real surprising that Out of Sense takes it on the chin there against his brethren, West Virginia breds, at a price of 6-5 because he's not getting any younger at 10 years old. And I thought his last race was not good by Out of Sense standards, and Father Time's undefeated. Nor am I surprised that he gets out kicked there by Storm and Rocket, who figured to run big and was the race's second likeliest winner, because Out of Sense has never really lived or died by his deep stretch finish. He's a horse that makes a stout turn move and usually has it nailed down by about the 16th pole. He's not necessarily a passer of opponents, a horse that can't be had or knotted out in deep stretch. Objection overruled. The stewards took a look at it, did their due diligence. There's no way in the world that would have been a justifiable disqualification. Come on. Did you notice also that Ramjeet was watching himself and steadying and steadying and steadying when the horse came up on his right eye there? And I'm going to straight up say this, and it's not the kind of thing that I could have said when I was doing the Mountaineer feed, but watch Whitaker, how he shoots the gap very willingly there on Out of Sense. Maybe not in quite such tight quarters as Ramjeet was, but I'll also tell you that Whitaker's got more heart than Ramjeet does. Now, Whitaker does not exactly reek talent as a jockey, but he's got guts and he's really aggressive. Although, while we're on the topic of riders, and one way I made my bones was by giving honest critique of race riders, which they don't like. Oh, they don't like it. Oh, they don't like it at all. You can praise a jockey 55 million times and then very tactfully imply in the next race that maybe they wish they would have done something a little bit different. You've got an enemy for life. But it might have behooved the hard-trying Mr. Whitaker to not get away dead last there on Out of Sense. Just dead freaking last. But that was a very logical race result there, no question about it. Fourth race, 6 furlongs, never threes. And I got it up there. So I guess we're up to like 29 subscribers now or something like that. So let's see what some of the comments are. Some guy named Marino says, great handicapping knowledge to be had here. I appreciate that, good sir, very, very much. The Mountaineer Show was very popular when I was the on-air talent. We went viral. I used to take an hour a day to answer my texts from worldwide. And Kevin Price said, I don't get the objection. Looks to me like the 5 came out. The 5 did make initial contact. And what the 7 did was just only a matter of blowing the 5's doors off around the far turn. Brad Graham, welcome in, Brad. Says, greetings to all. Greetings to you, good sir. And somebody else was in here. And I'm not too sure who it was. I don't want to neglect anybody. Keeneland Lex, a guy who I don't know. Welcome to YouTube, he says. Well, thank you kindly, Mr. Keeneland Lex. I've never been to Keeneland. Not at all. You know, my main memory of Keeneland from when I was a kid, my dad started me out. I'm a second-generation horse player. So my dad started me out on the wrong path in life. When I was like 10 years old, he taught me to read the racing form. They would go to Old Wheeling Downs when they ran flats before they ran hounds. In the dead of winter, him and my mom would go to those afternoon races when it's 10 degrees and the snow is a-blowing and the winds are howling. And then they bring me the form back when I was in, I think, the 5th grade and have me handicap the races off the Wheeling Downs form. My dad taught me the symbols and everything like that. And I can remember when we would go to Old Randall Park, which was across the street then from Thistledown, 2 racetracks, right across the street from each other. And one time my dad liked a horse named Mr. B's Lady, and this kind of stuff sticks with you. And this would have been like 1968 or 69 or something like that. So when the old decrepit Randall Park grandstand, soon to be demolished, my dad said, "This mare ran in Keeneland last time, Marky. Keeneland's class. Keeneland's class." And Mr. B's Lady won. So it stuck in my mind that Keeneland is class. That's what my dad had for me on that golden afternoon, summer afternoon, a long time ago, in a different lifetime, at a now defunct track called Randall Park. Anyways, if you're in here, please hit the like button, subscribe, do all the stuff that YouTube hosts badger you to do, please. And get the word around if you can, because again, like 95% of the people used to watch me religiously in Mountaineer, and I have been referred to in print more than once as a cult figure. I don't think they have any idea what I'm doing. So how can they come and get the Kool-Aid if they got no idea what I'm up to, right? Anyways, moving quickly along. Fourth race, yada, yada, yada. 6 furlongs, never threes. These are cheapish claimers. In fact, they're bottom claimers. I got a big field. We got 10. Not too bad there. So they don't do too badly filling those slapdash conditions in Mountaineer. It works. Whatever works, baby, go with it. I'm going to move on over and see if I'm missing any scratches here. Yeah, the 5 horses out. And yeah, so we got to 9 to the post. We got 9 and 4 to 5. No big surprise on video evidence there. Video evidence, those stakes races at 40 are usually Mickey Mouse. Man, they should have the mouse ears like in that Funicello, the old Mouseketeers, right? Because they're usually totally devoid of quality. But I think Go-Kart Mozart, a really good horse. I looked him up when Video Evidence first popped into town. Video Evidence looked really talented. And at the time, Julie Mathis was winning left and right with horses coming back off the winter respite. And I thought Video Evidence was an absolute cinch. And I was not pleased with the performance on an inside bias track, making the lead from the 2 posts there. I did not like that effort from Video Evidence. Video Evidence comes back and tanks and then loses at 4 to 5 with a drop to $4,000. Now, Video Evidence last time out ran 5.5 furlongs, and the buyer figure is supposed to win this. Okay, maybe legitimizes this horse's case as the favorite, but man alive, that effort bothers me on April the 20th. Normally it wouldn't because it was first time back off the bench, but Julie Mathis's horses were dead fit off the bench, and Video Evidence had the grain in his favor. And I'm not knocking the horse as much as I am giving point counterpoint. I like to argue with myself when I handicap. I like to put out some reasons. Maybe you want to look at a horse, and maybe some reasons you want to fade a horse. It's not a tout show. It's not what I do. It's just not what I do. Anyway, Video Evidence last time put up a buyer that's supposed to win this. And the horse that beat Video Evidence, I think it just won at Mahoning, where it's tougher than it is here. And it's like 2 for 2 since coming up from Gulfstream. So if Video Evidence can dispatch the one horse, do your job with alacrity, without expending a lot of energy, then Video Evidence probably isn't going to lose this. But Do Your Job does have speed. Is pulled into a good speed post. The 1 post out of the 6 shoot usually flashes out there and shows good early foot coming across that gap. If Do Your Job can take a few tail feathers out of Video Evidence, then that opens it up to some other horses. And I think the scratch in here was another horse that figured to show some speed, right? The horse that's been declared out of this, right? Was supposed to show some speed. I'm trying to remember who it was, but I thought maybe the horse was going to show some early foot, unless I totally misremember here. And I'm going to check back. Yeah, Charming Cha-Cha. Charming Cha-Cha's late scratch certainly enhances Video Evidence big time, which is one thing that makes it tough about putting picks out in advance, which I just really don't do. A lot of handicappers will. Anyways, if the 1 horse hurts the 2 or the 2 horse doesn't fire and is burning some money so far at Mountaineer, Video Evidence, or gets accosted by the 1 horse early, gets compromised, that opens the door to some other horses, not the least of which would be number 10, Q Country Road. So I would have liked here for sure when Charming Cha-Cha with that one's early speed was still signed on. Are they doing the post parade now? Let me check it out. So Betagogo, number 3 is 9-2 up there. And I don't like Jaybird horses when they're off 5 months. I don't give a hoot what the racing form stat says. My local knowledge tells me you don't normally want to bet a Jaybird horse that's been away this period of time. Plus, I don't think Betagogo really likes Mountaineer. Ran in a lower condition at number 2 twice here and lost at 6-5 and 3-2 there. Did Betagogo. Skylar's brother, number 4, 33-1. This horse needs a shorter distance and needs to flyer. Number 6, Align. Align is 9-2. Coming down ostensibly, at least in class, was in a turf race last time. I don't know if this horse likes turf or not. I really don't. But it wasn't a bad effort and cuts back from that. With some speed signed on for this and has been known to sprint okay in those two-turn affairs at Charlestown. Number 6, Align. So I wouldn't rule him out. I definitely would not rule number 6, Align out of this. Number 7, Ambulante. I don't know what's up with this guy. This is Eric Barber and the Barbarian's dad, and man alive, he just enters him in whatever fills, throws spaghetti. And I used to think there was some method that was madness, but I gave up on that theory a long, long time ago. So a good friend of mine just signed in, Chris Connor, and said, I watched Duel at your recommendation, Mark. Fantastic movie. It's great. Maybe the best made for TV movie ever with Dennis Weaver, where he gets stalked and chased and hounded by that huge semi for a solid hour and a half. And it's been characterized as a horror movie, and I would not disagree. And it's just fantastic. Some people think that is the greatest made-for-TV movie ever, maybe along with The Night Stalker, where Darren McGavin played the news hound, a Los Angeles reporter who stumbled upon a real vampire. I would recommend that one too, if you can find it and pull it up, The Night Stalker. So I'm going to skip on down to number 10, Q Country Roads, who's 5-1 there. Q Country was second in a fast race to a 1-2 favorite named Wajda on April the 12th there. And that's a good performance. And then comes back, gets the job done against lesser competition for sure. That's why it was even money. And next time, it definitely ran out of steam at a route. Does not want to go 2 turns. And you can see where he folded at the end of some route races at some other points in his career there. So the cutback helps a lot. There's some speed to run at. Yeah, if the 2 shows up, gets his lead and fires, then you're probably running for second with Q Country Roads. But I don't think there should be this much disparity in the respective price points, even money on video evidence, 5-1, as high as 5-1, Q Country Roads, who was reunited with Negron, who did win and run second on Q Country Roads. And we did see a rallier take the third race there in Storm and Rocket, correct? Yeah, we did. And last night, we had some horses coming from pretty well back. So it's not like the course is crazy speed biased or anything like that right now. So I will be back after the race. Mr. Cult Figure. I'll prepare the Kool-Aid, guys. So this is why I love the interaction here on YouTube. Please get in the comments, guys. I want you to share your expertise with me. I want to go back and forth. And Kevin Price, a man after my own heart, says, why didn't Arroyo keep going with the 10 horse there? He roused him and then kind of took up on him and saved. I thought it was a bizarre ride, Kevin. As a matter of fact, I thought he was going to pull the horse up halfway down the backstretch. And then once he did ask him and got him underway, he reached up and snatched the horse again when presumably wide of the field without a straw in his path at the 3/8 pole. Not a clue what the guy was thinking or what he was doing, but I can tell you something I do know something about. At the finish there, and 6:10 was a very logical exact. So the 6 horse was definitely a player. I don't think you guys got it pretty clear for me. I wasn't big on the 2 horse there, video evidence. Not a fan of the horse and thought the 1 horse might race him into defeat in the early stages there. So 6:10 was really logical. But another thing I didn't like about the ride on the 10 horse there was Mountaineer stewards are so permissive of the jockeys. They walk around in utter fear of offending one of the pilots. They really do. It's the most jockey-friendly steward stand in America. And something that is permitted here is, did you see how Arroyo stands up in the irons and pulls his mount up? But he wasn't going to win it, obviously. He had his position secured. But to pull his mount up, to put out the fire and call in the dogs like 5 strides from the wire, no. In Ohio, my bestie, the best friend I ever had, Lori Denoto, who was the chief steward in the state of Ohio for a few years, would never permit that. She would ream riders out for that. No matter where they finished, they were going to stay down and keep trying right until the bitter end. For some reason, though, that is permissible at Mountaineer. It has always been permissible at Mountaineer. And I don't care if the guy had his position secured and was going to be second no matter what in the final stages there. It is a horrible look for Arroyo, who picked up the call to get away with that. And watch the first 2 furlongs, please. The first 2.5 furlongs, and tell me what in the world was this guy doing on the 10 horse there? Not a clue. I mean, not a clue. Not accusing the guy of anything larcenous at all. I'm just an observer here. I'm an objective observer. And I thought it was bizarre the way he snatched on the horse twice through the early stages there. And I'm not a big fan of standing up in the tack long before the finish line. I'm just not. To me, that's not professional, and it should not be permitted. So we are, and video evidence, I think, was darn near a pull up there. The horse isn't right. And I knew it the first time when he had a big bias in his favor. And when Julie Mathis was super hot at the time of their off bench horses on a big drop, video evidence, and he didn't get the job done. I thought, things that make you go, We're going a mile in the 5th race. This is a generic condition. Now, there's twice in 12 months, $4,000 claiming. That kind of commentary did not endear me to the riders or to my coworkers or to anybody at Mountaineer when I was employed there. But I always had solid backing from management. They never censored me and never limited the things that I could say. And Jim Colvin and Rosemary Williams would back me tenaciously to the death as I gave the best commentary I could in what I thought was the best interest of horse players who tuned into the Mountaineer feed. I was a little bit unorthodox, and I caught a lot of heat from jockeys and horsemen. A lot of heat, baby. I can remember one time one of the jockeys sent a message up to the director racing, Rosemary Williams. And try and figure this out, please. We're coming up after the last to see Mark Patterson, and it's going to get real. Going to get real? What are we going to do, rumble? Like in West Side Story, the Sharks and the Jets? These guys want to rumble with me or something? Anyways, moving quickly along, guys. Moving quickly along. I get along pretty well with some of the jocks. Okay. Race number 5. We got a full field here, don't we? Yes, indeed we do have a full field. As my 2 Aunt Jones, I'm going to guess, is the favorite right now. I'm going to trot on over there and flip my own screen. And Bob Baffert, good friend of mine, Lucian, says fully agree about that ride. And as far as the article I'm going to do for a local online publication about how much I hate soccer. I didn't write it yet, my good friend. And I'm going to tie it in with the worst time of my life when I was working a straight job, a civilian job in California. My distaste, my hearty distaste for the game of soccer. So who was that on the 10? Was it Arroyo or Negron? I think it was Arroyo, right? Who picked up the mount. Negron's off tonight, I'm pretty sure, right? There's my man Bobby in Massachusetts. All is right with my world when my brother, and I call him brother, Bobby, is in the house. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Okay, I flipped over to the paddock here to check things out, and we are just 5 minutes out, which means this field will be dispatched in about 15 minutes, I would say, or something like that. And yeah, my two Aunt Jones is the favorite here. Hard knocking former Ohio horse, my two Aunt Jones, who loves to win. And his industrial strength when they let him get the lead. If they do that here, then look out. I guess he's got the potential to bounce after a smashing return to competition there. That was his first outing since January, that runaway win. And plus, I will say, the biggest jump at Mountaineer in the condition book is from the non-12 months to the 2 and 12 months. It's a big hike between those two conditions. And man, that was a lousy field. There was no speed, and he went at an Arabian clip up top. Now, I want to bring your attention to a scratch in here. As let me check it out. North Warden, I think, was scratched. Yeah, North Warden, the 9 was scratched, which conveniently removes the opposing speed from my two Aunt Jones path. And there's a reason for that, a family reason. And I'll explain it to you guys after I step aside for the post parade here for just a minute. I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. Hope you guys are too. Guys, getting back to my point about the family, keeping it all in the family. Alicia Robillard, the trainer and owner of number 3, my two Aunt Jones, is the daughter of. She is the daughter of Julie Mathis, who scratched North Warden out of here and took the speed out of her daughter's path. Julie Mathis was married to Josh Robillard, good guy, good horseman from Canada, who is the father of Alicia Robillard. So you're talking about all in the family. They're the same outfit, basically, and they weren't going to run these two speeds against each other, not at all. On the inside, Braggadocio, surprised at the price this low. Kind of like this horse. Hate that 7-1 morning line price point. I'm not sure I want to go on and on about that anymore. I think I addressed that point at some length earlier on the night. Braggadocious. This is curious to me. Hobby Castillo claimed this horse. What's the name of that thing he brought in from Cleveland? to win and win so well that he claimed and moved up to Costa on. I can never remember the horse's name. Stayed left lead. He worked it out, smoothed the horse out. So he's a good horseman. And I really wonder why he reached in and grabbed Braggadocious there off a couple of really poor efforts. Did have fresh legs, might have liked the conditions, but I wonder if he knows something about this horse from Ohio because he's a Mahoning trainer. I wonder if he knows something about Braggadocious, and I wonder if it's showing up on the tote board here. If he's improved something with this horse, I really wonder. A Boldness, not a good horse, but did fire lights out to embarrass that field in the Braggadocious race last time. Our Cardinal Prince is 29-1. He's only 6, but man, it seems that I watched this horse forever on the Silver Simulcast screen in Ohio. It seems like this horse is 80 years old. Did win and win well last time. Good speed fig and beat a pretty decent field at the time. Breezy Money and Road to Stardom. But I don't know. Off what I've seen so far this year from this horse. And to get him to win seems like pulling teeth these days. Last couple of seasons. Number 6, Can't Pay the Toll, 22-1, has reinvented himself several times and was third in a race that was wired by a chalk on May the 10th. I don't know. Sometimes he does what you least expect there, and a change of jocks might wake him up a little bit. Leo and Roy, I'll keep an eye on this barn because he will win with long shots. But this horse walks out of the gate these days. Mean Tweets, my man, Randy Bailey, watch him. Bonafide Sharpie, miscast last time against a monstrous Thought, who had all the speed in there when the race was scratched to pieces. His post time approached, and Mean Tweets had no shot chasing, which he doesn't want to do, wants to come from behind. Made a good bit at a couple of lone speed winners when sprinting earlier in the meet there and can get a route of ground and definitely has a chance here. Mean Tweets. I would not go to sleep on Mean Tweets. Krug, potentially a role player here, usually shows speed if he's sharper than he was on opening night there, Krug, and goes out there. He might be a role player to maybe compromise on my two-hand Jones. It's certainly possible. Oh, my good friends John and Harlan in the house. They're in the comment section there. Welcome in, guys. I really dig those gentlemen. They have been out here to visit me in the studio, and I consider them dear friends. And I appreciate your support, guys. And I appreciate everybody's support who showed up tonight to watch my flagship show here on YouTube. Never done YouTube before. Getting the hang of it as we go, guys. And I'm checking the comments out here, and a gentleman named Michael Zeisler, 2257, says, how do you come up with these horses? I don't know if he's talking about me. I think he's talking about that unlikely result there. I think came in 2 and 6 in that race. Yeah, I couldn't have found the two-horse, our Cardinal Prince. He did win well last year with a similar style. A good buyer, beat a good field, but he hadn't shown much this year, has he? Our Cardinal Prince. All of a sudden, the night, bang, there he is. Takes the bit and runs big. Can't pay the toll. I think I did warn you guys going in that he often does what you least expect and has reinvented himself several times. This can't pay the toll there, but I couldn't find those horses, and that wasn't my worldview of that race. I'm going to be honest with you guys about that. Yeah, it's just how it is. That's just how it is. Certain randomness to that race result, in my opinion. But I wasn't too big on anybody in there. It just wasn't the kind of race I could sink my teeth into or say, yeah, baby, yeah. Let me hit the windows. When I'm going to bet something, I'll let you guys know. Wonder how many subscribers we're up to now. Not sure, but if you're watching me, and again, I'm running the banner that says, do not adjust your monitor. I am the worst looking dude on YouTube. No question about that. And I mentioned earlier at the outset, I violate the two main edicts of being a successful host on television. I ain't good looking and I ain't likable. But somehow I struggled through and became pretty popular on the Mountaineer feed. I like to say, well, my wife likes the way I look, but I'm not even sure about that, to be really blunt about it, guys. 33 subscribers we have, which I think if you want to get paid, you got to get up to 500. So that's only 467 to go. I flunked business math, guys, so it took me a minute to do that math, right? First night, though, and nobody knows what I'm doing here. I don't think X is my demographic. I wanted to get on Facebook, and I will one way or another, but I found out my account had been banned, barred. I think it was hacked or something like that for doing something unspeakable, which I would not do. I'm always a gentleman when I'm on social media. I won't argue. I won't fight. I won't resort to name calling. Now, some of the people that get, let's just say, unpleasant on social media were to encounter me in person, maybe on a golf course or something like that, I think they might find I'm not quite as civilized as I seem on television. But what is the point in spatting online? I mean, really, hide behind a computer and be a big man? No. I'm not going to engage in these long, drawn-out, knockdown, drag-out arguments. I'm not going to name call. I'm not going to do that stuff. Okay, 5 furlongs for the 6th race, maiden 12-5. We're talking about here. And this race is kind of a puzzler for me because the first thing I notice is, well, there's nobody in here to really rely on. Now, Titanio Coco, the 2, and Forever Valiant, the 8, they're similar in that they both showed sharp speed at bigger tracks. Titanio made the lead a couple of times at Gulfstream going 5.8, a couple of times at Tampa, and then comes here and doesn't really flash his A speed, and then just fades out the back door. Now does get a class drop for this, and certainly an easier than it was last time, but he didn't fire last time on the change of hands coming up the mountain here. And Forever Valiant, who came off the bench last time, had been second at Indy, making the lead at first call. It forced the pace at Indy, going 5.5 there. So he didn't show his A speed either in the same race as Titanio Coco, but at least he figured to be short, and he was in advance of Titanio Coco through the early stages. So I don't know how much gain either of these speed horses are going to bring to the table tonight. Forever Valiant, who changed hands in between his last 2 races and certainly fell apart there, but he drops in class, might get the lead. And Titanio Coco, who you would like here if you thought he could show up like he did at Tampa in March or April there, huh? And then again, neither one of them could hold on here. They could both back up and throw it to somebody else, right? I'm not sure that somebody else would beat. Number 7, Whiskey Reserve, and the bar might not be high here to make some kind of a late game. Sometimes, and don't laugh at this, sometimes in a bad Mountaineer maiden race, the most starts is not a bad thing because having the most experience sometimes translates. The most failed seasoning sometimes translates to the strongest finish. It can happen. Plus this trainer. And here's another little tidbit. This trainer is I think like 7 or 8 for 14 or 15 over the last couple of years at Mountaineers. So you can throw his record out when he comes to the mountain. He's much better here. Much, much, much better than he is anywhere else. So gets to Sean Parker. And a horse I would look at here a little bit, at least for a piece of this. Whiskey Reserve, huh? Lucho, number 3, Lucho was second at Tampa on February the 11th. Nobody believed it. He was 32-1. Nobody saw it coming, and nobody liked it because when he comes to Mountaineer, and he was in a good maiden race here on April the 27th, Sonny's Prize, who was second there. I think it just run like a 70 buyer or something like that at Sonny's Prize in Ohio. And so Lucho was ignored at the windows, did not run, but gets a class drop. And if he fires back to February the 11th, maybe he's got the right style. Just not a lot to go on here, guys. Just not a lot to go on at all. Here's the thing. They gave $100K for at auction that debuts for 12.5 there. Does Jack Sworn. I can't find a workout any longer than a half mile on him. Gets Lasix for his first trip to the post there, huh? My son and I watched part of, and then he pooped out on me. We watched part of Crimson Peak, which is one of my favorite ghost movies. I like Crimson Peak a lot. I like the stylish production values, and I kind of like the story. I don't know if you've seen Crimson Peak. I would give it a thumbs up and recommend it. The general premise is, I think it's like 1890 or 1880 or something like that. And this unscrupulous couple, they come to America to solicit some kind of investors to dig the red clay, the unique red clay from around their mansion, their decrepit mansion in England, I guess, in England. And they're not what they seem. And it's a pretty good story. It's a very good ghost story. It's kind of creepy. And I think it works on several levels. The American part, before they head back overseas with the guys, the dudes, conned bride. She's the mark in some kind of a con job in tow before they go back over there. It works. And once they get over there, then it starts to get really horrifying. So we're going to watch the rest of that tonight, Crimson Peak. And I would give it maybe, I don't know, 3.5 stars out of 5, maybe 4 even, Crimson Peak. Old-fashioned ghost story. I don't want to give too much away. I hate when you see or watch a review and they tell you everything that happens in the freaking movie. And I can't read a review or watch a review. For instance, on Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg's movie, and I even pulled up no spoiler review on YouTube. It's what I wanted. So I'm 3 minutes into a review and the dude starts telling me everything that happens in the movie. So I had to tune him out. Back in a minute. I hope this coming across, guys. I'm not really crazy and wild, wet monkey love with tonight's card. There's really nobody that I really liked a whole lot so far. And I'm not going to fake it. I just don't do that. There will come nights when I love the card. and I'll have pics and tickets splashed across a banner on the bottom. But other than that, my main deal is I just kind of hash the races back and forth with you guys and give you the benefit of a second opinion, almost like you're at simulcast with an old friend or something like that. Hopefully, an old friend that knows what's going on at the venue, because I do have some local knowledge, having actually spent my life at Mountaineer / Old Waterford and worked some 36 years there as a racing official, all the jobs I worked. So I speak from a foundation of knowledge when it comes to what goes on behind the scenes for sure. I know the players at Mountaineer, and hopefully I can supply you guys with some local knowledge. Not a tout show, but if I like something and I like the value, I will sing out loud and clear, guys. And that'll happen a lot of times because I'm not here just to talk to you guys. I'm here to bet when I see something that I like. I guess we were up to 39 subscribers now. Not a bad start, huh? I got to get the word out. I've got about 500 phone numbers in my phone of fans that watch me religiously in Mountaineer. And I don't think they know I'm on YouTube. I'm going to have to text them and fill them in. But that's just a drop in the bucket of all the folks that did watch me and tune me in, and some of which I would dare say consider me must-see TV. And how I'm going to reach those masses, I have no idea. But I'm going to keep plugging along and keep doing this, because what did Richard Gere say when Lou Gossett said he wanted his DOA, what was that, like to sign off and drop out of the Naval Aviator program? And finally, Richard Gere, he's getting hazed by Lou Gossett Jr. and forced to do push-ups and stuff like that, and scrub the latrines in the hallways with a toothbrush. And this is me, as far as doing this show goes. He finally looks at Lou Gossett and says, I got nowhere else to go. And that's the truth, baby. I got nowhere else to go. Got nothing else to do right now. So I'm going to keep doing this. And we are at 0 minutes to post and 2-1 on Titanium Coco. And those two forests at Tampa Pass are pretty good form. The kind of form that's likely to win this. A little disappointed in that first effort at Mountaineer, and that's on the change of hands. So I don't know if I take a real short price there. Forever Valiant exits the same fast race. It was contested for a higher price, and that Indy form can be sneaky tough when they come here. And he's getting bet too at 5-2. Horse I would use on the verticals somewhere is Whiskey Reserve, just on the experience factor, the potential to finish more strongly than some of the other horses in here. And also, this guy's incredible record at Mountaineer, although I doubt if that was compiled with horses like Whiskey Reserve, who's pretty hapless, pretty hopeless, huh? How inflated is this 12.5 claiming price? Just completely inflated. So maybe the late double will offer us a little more in the way of possibilities. Anyways, welcome in, guys. And thanks for joining me. I'll be back. Good object lesson there to always stay alert, because with the speeds looking a little bit shaky in that race, and it didn't run real hot in there to boot, and that was certainly possible. And speed not really good tonight either. And last night, some deep closers winning. Lucho never should have been 9-1, dropping out of what I described as a very solid maiden special weight race. Had a race over the track, so I wasn't all that bullish on it, but he certainly had a shot, a better shot than 9-1. Lucho, all closers, exacta. Lucho actually got some position with a good aggressive ride there from Batista, good ground saving ride, ran a little green. Whiskey Reserve was up for second there. Was pretty sure that guy laying time the ticket somewhere. Whiskey Reserve, that could have been had with an off the pace mindset going into that race. And certainly Lucho at 9-1 was a big value. And if you're looking for horses to come from behind, which kind of fits the grain right now, then maybe that race was playable. I don't know. Maybe we missed a ball there, guys. I don't know. I'm looking at the comments here, and Riding the Real Natron says, should have went with my gut and bet the 3. Indeed, you should have. My good friend Jim Bogart, this guy's on X and is a really good guy. I do consider him a friend. Said, I will get the word out for you, buddy. Appreciate that very much. And my man, the father of Mountaineers official twins, and I love these little girls, Katie and Charlie, is in the house. Great. That is just great. My favorite girls, Katie and Charlie. The official Mountaineer twins, yeah, for sure. Hello also to John Nemeth. And I don't want to neglect anybody here. And Kevin Price says, Marcus, your Pirates have 36 victories. I need 79. I think it was a cinch a couple of weeks ago, but man alive, after they dropped all but one to the Dodgers, and then all but one to the Mariners, and then Skeens has now lost like his last 6 starts. I don't know if it's looking so good for me. I'm really afraid they're going to sink below the waters and go below 500. So what is 79 wins? 3 games below 500? 3 games below the surface? Can't have it. I just can't have it. Got to root Bucks. Go Bucks. It's a fun bet to make because you're invested in every single pitch, and I've learned more about the nuances of baseball since I bet a few hundred on my beloved Pirates to win at least 79 games this year than I was ever aware of. I don't do it from some deep well of baseball knowledge, or analytics or anything like that. I do because I'm an about Bucco fan since way back in the day, man. When they played on the West Coast and I was like 10 years old, I would sneak the radio under the covers in my bed and listen to them from the West Coast. The great gunner Bob Prince, Chicken on the Hill with Willie Stargell, when he'd hit a homer and stuff like that. So I've been a big Buck fan for a long time. I saw some dude with a Clemente shirt on at the grocery store the other day. A guy maybe 45 years old or something like that. So I says, my man, great shirt, great shirt. He said, oh, really? I think he knew who Clemente was. So I explained to him, Clemente was a great one, who I think might have hit for the Triple Crown one year. Did he? And could, and this is a fact, could throw a strike to home plate without bouncing it from the center field fence. This guy had no clue whose shirt it was wearing. The legendary Clemente, who, of course, became heroic, more than a man, after his tragic demise, ferrying rescue supplies to his native Puerto Rico, I think, or something like that. This guy's wearing a Clemente jersey and didn't even know who Clemente was. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. And now we come to the best race of the night. This is an allowance. And this is a case where Mountaineer are throwing a lot of conditions onto a race. It has worked. This is either never 4 nominers in 26, and it's attracted a good assortment of allowance distaffers to go 5.5 furlongs. It's got a good mix here. You got a couple of horses up from Charlestown, Zen Nation scratched, by the way, big scratch. You have got Miss Jane Planer, who's 6 for 11 over the mountain, Maine. Got a horse coming off grass, overly dramatic, and Miss Betty, the super talented Miss Betty, who was by far the best horse on the grounds a couple of years back, right, in 2024. Oh, yeah, she was the boss, baby. She was the real deal, Miss Betty, for a while there, when she quit walking out of the gate, which was her habit at the outset of her career. And she still oozes talent as Miss Betty. Miss Betty, 10 for 26, and you can see where she's got some serious issues back at the barn. But she was good enough to win first time off the bench at Prescal, no less. And an optional claimer, 62 was the tag option, 62,000. And she wins fast there without benefit of prep. did Miss Betty that makes her dangerous off the sidelines. But horses like this that are miraculous cripples that just aren't durable. And in fact, she didn't go anywhere from that. It was her only passable outing on the whole season. So she's got some serious problems back at the barn. And they keep running well, fresh, until they don't, until their issues catch up with them. So I don't know. She used to walk out of the gate. That would make me a little bit leery. We're coming back off the sidelines here. Number 6, Miss Betty, but she certainly got the talent to beat this field and to beat him hands down. And your pace setter, I think you can count on the pace setter coming back over a course that has not been kind of speed tonight. So my man Andy says Clemente at the top of my list, most talented baseball players in my lifetime, and I'm a Pirates fan. Yeah, for sure. If he played nowadays, the great one, Clemente, they couldn't pay him. They'd have to give him a franchise, right? Would they not? And we are 3 minutes to post. Paul Mari, her claim to fame came the last time she ran longer than 4.5. I think she was second at 5.8 to the legendary Larimar, the near legendary Larimar. I don't think she's going to reprise that effort tonight, though, off all those 4.5s. Sometimes 4.5 for long speeds come and run 5.5 at Mountain and get speed relief. I think this field's is too tough, too deep, and speed's not holding real well tonight. Happy Clouds on the inside, scratch, take Happy Clouds out. Miss Jane Planer with that 6 for 11 record over the Mountain Main. She loves 5.5, 4 for 5 at this distance. She got the lead last time. She's not getting the lead on paper here from Paul Mari, but she can run from just behind. The question is, can she run her best fake from just behind? They've really worked the condition book with her as a West Virginia bred. They run through the conditions once in restricteds and then again outside the program. So she's got a shot for sure. But she might not be quite as good as her for 14 record might make you believe, but she's got a chance, yeah. Flat Out Diamonds, 9-2 there. Flat Out Diamonds. I don't know what is up with Cluley running horses on grass. I really don't like the grass. I don't think Flat Diamonds wants turf at all. So I'm going to toss her last race. It's a 2-turner under her belt. And I'm looking last year and some 2 other than allowances and 20,000 optionals and a little Canella who was just streaking on quite a roll, and Flat Out Diamonds was charging at her like 3 times. Closers are doing okay right now. I'm a big Cluley fan. Usually get value on his horses. Going to be well back early, but she's going to be rolling late, I think. And I think that turf race maybe camouflaged her form a little bit. Miss Betty's 9-5. Miss Betty, the most talented horse, and did win fresh last year against far superior competition to this, and certainly had the Beyer fig to prove it. Loves the Mountain Main. She's 6 for 9 here. But since she only ran 4 times last year and her only good effort was first time back, does that mean you count on her fresh or you wonder about her future? Number 6, Miss Betty. Yeah, not a race I'm overly eager to bet on. I think Overly Dramatic is better, by the way, on turf than on dirt. Interestingly enough, Ramjeet's going to ride Miss Betty when he's got his choice between Overly Dramatic and Miss Betty. And Flat Out Diamonds, a little bit enticing there. I'd say 5-1. I won't bet an eye if Flat Out Diamonds wins it. Miss Jane Planer's in with a shot. And again, Miss Betty's the most talented horse in the race. So I do like the price on Flat Out Diamonds. And the setup end of the green. Hey, Bear. Yeah, I was pretty high there on Flat Out Diamond's chances. I think I made that pretty obvious in my pre-race commentary. But then 9-5, vicious late tote correction there went all the way down to 9-5 from 5-1. Did the Flat Out Diamonds, kind of a broken race, as the old timers used to say. I'm not surprised, by the way, and I see where somebody's lamenting the fact that Miss Betty blows the start. I think I raised that possibility in my pre-race analysis because Miss Betty, at the outset of her career, used to dwell, walk out of the gate and stuff like that, and was still good enough to win some non-life allowances. And you know what? Old habits resurface for veteran racehorses when they've been away from the races a while. She hadn't been to the gate in a while. Miss Betty, I don't see any gate works there on Miss Betty. I'm not surprised that she blew the start, Miss Betty. Now, I'm a little surprised. I don't know if this altered the outcome or not, but Paul Mari broke very rank there. She can be a little quirky, Paul Mari. Even she makes this big hero run to nearly catch the pace. If she would have nailed the start, she's on top there. And I'm not sure you get a different result because Flat Out Diamonds, arguably the field's strongest finisher to begin with. But the result of that busted start from Paul Mari is you have got Miss Jane Planner, who's very strong if she's out close to the pace like that, setting the engine. So she was always going to be tenacious. But bottom line, Flat Out Diamonds, once she's got her teeth sunk into the pace, you're not going to outfinish her. It is just not going to happen. And my man Travis from York, Pennsylvania, a daughter of those, this father of those Mountaineer twins, I see where he says, pick 5 carries over if the 1, 5, 6, 8, 10, or 14 win. I think you mentioned a couple of horses that might have a shot there, my man Travis, by the way. First night doing the YouTube thing, and I much appreciate your patronage. And I'm going to get the word out and pick up the viewership here. I think it's kind of an auspicious start. And you guys know what I do. It's not a tout show, and I sometimes jump around a little bit. I'm a scatological analyst. I can give some hardcore information and maybe even overanalyze sometimes, dig down deep into the depths of the past performances and stuff like that, and then just go off the grid. My next comment might be about a movie or something like that. It's simply how I roll. It's what I do. I think it's probably like anchovies on your pizza. You either like it or you don't. But anyway, so I'm going to get the hang of this venue. And if I like a card, if I like something, some kind of a wager, I'm going to put it on a banner across the bottom there. One thing that makes it tough to put any wagering notions out in advance at Mountaineer is you can never be sure when they're going to come off the turf at Mountaineer because the weather can be a little twitchy here in West Virginia's scenic, even bucolic northern panhandle. But beyond that, you get riddled with late scratches at Mountaineer, pace-changing scratches, potentially race-changing scratches, which makes it a little difficult to put picks out in advance, guys. But when I see something I like, something I'm going to bet on, then I'm going to let you guys know that I'm going to head to the windows. I did like Flat Out Diamonds a good bit, but I don't like what the closing price was there at 9-5. How late did that money show up on Flat Out Diamonds, guys? And again, if you tuned in and you're watching me and you're digging what you see, then please subscribe and hit the like button. Man alive, I sound like a broken record. I used to get sick of the podcasters that are on my daily itinerary. Bill O'Reilly, who I go to for my news, Bill O'Reilly, and Megyn Kelly, my girl Megyn Kelly, and then Jason Whitlock are daily stops for me. And they're always talking about hit the like button and subscribe. And now I get it. Suddenly I understand. And I'm going to make a confession. I've never bothered to hit the like button for them or to subscribe. But now I'm going to be begging folks to do it for me. Let's take a look at the last, huh? I see we were 5 minutes to post. We're in the paddock there. And this is a 5 furlong race for fillies and mares that haven't won a race in 12 months. So when it comes to veterans, these are the low of the low, baby. And I mean the low of the low. So we got to the 3, 9, 12, and 13 around 14 draws in his post position 10, which is not a disadvantage statistically in the long run. It's been a couple of years since I profiled the Mountain Maine, but statistically, it's not a disadvantage. And that's number 2, a little bit delicious. A little bit delicious. She was winning and winning at the outset of her career. I think she took like her first 3 starts or 3 of her first 4, something like that. And the curious thing was every time she would win, they would drop her down in class as if they were double dog daring somebody to claim a little bit delicious. So you don't need a thesaurus to tell you that means she's got some issues. She's got some problems, a little bit delicious. And she does stay left lead when she runs. Now, she's got a big second quarter. Now, she came back and she wasn't ready to do her thing. She was 7-5 there against some bad horses. When Captain Ann wins, those are bad horses, baby. When Romantic Jewel, who hasn't won since like the Pittsburgh Steelers, were in the Super Bowl, when she's second, that's a bad field, baby. Now, she might move forward off the 1 prep. And Frank Garrett, I think, won a race very recently there. And it's an underrated horseman, too, is Frank Garrett. Who did he win with here recently? Was it somebody else? I think it was off the claim, right? I think it was somebody that he turned around off the claim, Frank Garrett. So she's a chance. But if you watch her travel, you're never going to like her, the way she runs and jabs at the ground. Scream Machine, who was a phenom when she first hit town for King Clouston. And Scream Machine came from Finger Lakes and kept whipping off wins. But she went a miss at some point, too, and took some funky drops and no longer performs like herself. The Stansbury horses moved up sharply, second time off the bench this year. Scream Machine did, but she loses to Captain Ann, is a 4-5 favorite. So how enthused can you get despite her potent win record, 6 for 19, when you see last time at 4-5, she gets a length and a half on him. The formerly game-finishing Scream Machine. And Captain Ann and Romantic Jewel both run by her. That's not good at all. Number 6, One Night Stand. The course has been pretty good for closers last couple of nights. One Night Stand has had a prep now. And One Night Stand knows how to win and win over the Mountain Maine. And Divisibility just gave that field a slip there, the big-time slip. What do my track bias notes say for May the 17th? Was she trying to close against the grain? And by the way, I do have a website, and I do have track bias notes on that website, by the way, where you can go in and check it out. The Dungeon 2025 is my website. I keep track bias notes on there in kind of a diary form, which a lot of serious players find useful. And I'm going to keep that, even though I'm no longer emanating my signal, my live stream from my website, because I want to keep doing track bias notes on there. And I'll write an occasional article too and skewer some people and institutions on the aptly named section, which is the torture chamber, which is called the torture chamber. As far as the grain goes, and I'm checking it out now from May the 17th fair. I had it fair, so One Night Stand was not against the grain. I missed a winner last night that went against the grain, and I could kick myself. I'm still kicking myself about it. But anyways, I'm getting back to the matter at hand. And I think I'm still up there. Yeah, One Night Stand gets some set up here, and One Night Stand is straight up better than these horses. And Divisibility shook loose, and got a big lead there. Maybe nobody gets a big lead here. One Night Stand is definitely a primetime player in this race, given the green and given the probable setup. I'm going to skip on down here to number 14, Ashley's Ring. Ashley's Ring totally tanked a few times in Ohio. Had it in my mind she was better than some of those races because seems to want the lead, and she was outfooted by a quick foe that popped up in against her a couple of times, a horse named Tommy, so they compromised her, especially when she pulled the one post a couple of times up there at Mahoning. So when she came here, I thought she might have a chance. I guess Team Blankenship did too. They reached in and claimed her. Could not have liked the performance when they halted her for the new low tag of $3,200. Only modest improvement from her as she duels at 6 furlongs. They shortened her up to 5.5. And she did chase Swift Split, set by a much faster horse than these. A Kiss for Kozan. I think she's a contender here, pretty strong contender, because there is nothing like A Kiss for Kozan in here, because the 10 post is not statistically, if you check out track profiles, a disadvantage at 5/8, whereas paradoxically enough, this is counterintuitive, it is a disadvantage in the long run out of the 6 furlong shoot. But whatever, she's not with anything as fast as A Kiss for Kozan. And I'm going to straight up say I'm a fan of the barn. And usually Team Blankenship works it out, even with ill-conceived, ill-advised claims, guys. So she's live. I think that One Night Stand is certainly live, a little bit delicious. If she gets her nose up there on the pace, she usually has a strong second quarter. It's really tough for me to forgive a loss to the likes of Captain Ann and Romantic Jewel, though, you know. I have not eaten today, by the way. I'm watching what I eat. My wife was called out belatedly to duty as a desk nurse at nearby Weirton Med, and she was going to make a beautiful spaghetti and meat sauce dish for me and Little Bear, my son Shane, and I'm missing out on that now. So I'm going to have to go and make do and call an audible and maybe throw some kind of a TV dinner or something in the microwave. And Shane and I, after that, will finish a horror movie, which I do recommend, Crimson Peak. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow to do the same doggone thing because it's what I do. And to quote Richard Gere and An Officer and a Gentleman, I got nowhere else to go. So help me put the word out, please, because I don't think anybody knows what I'm doing here. And catch me again tomorrow night. Guys, I really enjoyed this a whole lot. I like the fact that you guys can weigh in and give me your opinions, too, on what's happening here. Your own feedback, your own expertise, and we can learn from each other as we go, because that's how horse players are educated. I have read probably 600-700 books on thoroughbred handicapping, and some of them were stupendous, but I never learned nearly as much in those tomes as I did from fellow horse players over the years, from the time I was 12, 13 years old. So anyways, I am out. See you tomorrow.